Welcome back, YouTube. Thank you for joining me. My name is Nolan, and what you've stumbled upon is another episode of my Game Chat videos. What is my Game Chat videos, or what are my Game Chat videos? Well, each week I sit down in front of my camera, and I have a little conversation with you and the rest of the internet about games in general. Video games, console games, handheld games, you name it. Probably not a lot of computer games because that's not really my forte. And I can get into that another time. Anyway, what I would like from you, I know it's early in the game to be asking you for anything, but what I'd like from you is to just give me some sort of a feedback, okay? So leave some comments down in the comments section, ask me some questions, and most importantly, I'd like for you to subscribe to my channel. So that's not a whole lot to ask from you. And so if you just want to subscribe to my channel, just hit the red subscribe button somewhere up there, up above my video, maybe off to the side. Just hit that button. And then we'll be best friends forever and always, okay? Thanks. Anyway, if you've been keeping up with my Game Chat videos, you might realize that each week I have some sort of a theme. Now, those themes can range from anything. So it could be games I found at a pawn shop, or games that I found for $1 a piece, or Pokemon games. So what's up with Pokemon? I don't know. Why don't you go back, check out a couple of my old Pokemon videos, come back and then just be like, hey, now I know what Pokemon's all about. Thank you for informing me. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago, you might remember that I started a video on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games. Now, if you don't recall that, go ahead, take a look at that video right now. That's fine, I'll be waiting. So hit pause on my video, that pause button right down there, pause the video, go back, check out my Tony Hawk Pro Skater game video, and then come back and check this out. Okay, ready, go. Alright, now that you're back, what I'm going to talk about is games that follow the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series. So after Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, Activision dropped the Pro Skater name, but they decided to keep on going with the Tony Hawk games because right then and there the Tony Hawk games were still thriving. But they didn't want to keep coming out with the same old thing week or year after year after year. So that's where these games kick in. And first game on the list is Tony Hawk's Underground. This game for the PlayStation 2, GameCube, and for the Xbox, the original Xbox, not the 360. This game totally took the game in a new direction. So in the previous games, you were dropped in a level, you were offered a bunch of objectives that you had to complete, and then you moved on. And you were chosen as, or you got to choose a pro skater to skate as. The Underground games shake it up quite a bit. So yes, it still follows the format of dropping you in a level, although it's very story-based this time. So what happens is you start off as an amateur skater, an absolute nobody. Okay, so you're probably skating as me, right? An absolute nobody. As you complete objectives, you actually get your name out there. You increase your fame from level to level. More and more skaters get to know who you are, and so you really grow through the ranks of becoming an amateur skater until at the very end of the game, you become a pro skater yourself. A lot of fun, very story-based, as opposed to the Pro Skater games. Anyway, that's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Tony Hawk's Underground. A lot of fun. Check it out, okay? Next on the list, what do you know? It's Tony Hawk's Underground 2. This game differs slightly from the first Underground, and I'll tell you why. First of all, you start off as an amateur, a nobody. Again, you probably start off as me, Nolan. You just pick your character, customize, pick him as me. So that's the same as Underground. However, in this game, yes, you do start off as an amateur, but what happens is there's Tony Hawk, and he partners up with Bam Margera, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, from Jackass fame. And what they do is they actually start this world destruction tour. And what this is you have Team Hawk and Team Bam, and they compete head to head with their own team of amateur skaters. And the competition involves skating, doing very daring and ballsy activities, and just causing lots of destruction, hence the World Destruction Tour. It's a lot of fun. yes, it's very story-based. A lot of things are scripted. So, you start off on maybe Tony Hawk's team. You get moved over to Bam's team later on. But still a lot of fun. Really great story to follow. I recommend checking it out. Following those two games, they get away from the Underground series and they actually go into Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. Now what this game is all about is it's similar to the Underground games because you are an amateur skater. You're not really this big shot pro skater like Tony Hawk or some of the other big names. And the purpose of this game is to go through and throughout these different levels you gain support from different skaters, and the ultimate goal is to create this skating utopia known as American Wasteland. And throughout all this, you get these people together, you actually collect different artifacts and skating locales or skating pieces, set pieces, and then eventually you can build your own American Wasteland the way that you want it. So this is really neat because it's previous Tony Hawk games, they've had the create a skate park, but in this, your create a skate park is actually part of the storyline. So a lot of fun, a little bit of a twist from the Underground series, still very storyline oriented, and in this game, as you can see in the back of the case, maybe you can't, it says it is the first free-roaming Tony Hawk game. So then the way that works out is every time you go from level to level, instead of going through the pause menu and going to change level and I want to go to that level, then I have to wait and load for 30 seconds. Actually, the way that it works here is if you're trying to go to a different level, you're skating down a corridor or a hallway or just a narrow road, and it's usually very short, but then it's actually a seamless transition into the next level. So it's really nice because you don't have all of those wait times for loading. Next, probably came out a year later, is Tony Hawk's Project 8. Now in this game, I have not actually finished this game, so I can't say a whole lot about it. Give me a break, okay? All of those other Tony Hawk games I mentioned so far, I beat them all the way through. Probably as every single character. So that's a lot of skating games to play. So cut me a little slack for not finishing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 8, okay? Alright, we good? In Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 8, I believe, now this is, like I said, I haven't played much of it, if any at all. I believe what's going on is that Tony Hawk is working on this Project 8, and it's just this, I don't know, just imagine some ultimate goal with skating that you try to increase skating in the world of Tony Hawk. That's a terrible review, just a terrible, terrible review. You know what, sometime I'm going to play this, and I guarantee it's going to be the best game in the world. Guarantee it. Okay? Yeah. Following Tony Hawk's Project 8 is Tony Hawk's Proving Ground. Alright, so what's Tony Hawk's Proving Ground about? Again, I have not played this game. Okay, cut me some slack here, guys. In Tony Hawk's Proving Ground, I'm guessing, and I'm pretty sure I'm at least hitting the nail on this one, is that you are an amateur skater and you've got something to prove. Anyway, don't know a whole lot about this game. I'm sure it plays very similar to all the other Tony Hawk games, but that's all I've got to share with you today. Next time I talk about skating games, we're going to talk about Tony Hawk spin-offs. Okay, so that's what I've covered today are all of the basic Tony Hawk games where you're using the controller, you use regular Tony Hawk controls. Going forward, we're going to talk about some of the different Tony Hawk games that I would not consider to be part of the main series. But anyway, we're going to cover that in probably a couple of weeks. Come back next week. I'm going to have another game chat video every single Sunday. Please check out my YouTube channels. And again, like I said earlier, please leave me some comments, some questions, and hit that big red subscribe button. Anyway, until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.